it's hard to think of anywhere more susceptible to climate change. The Maldives lies only 1.5 meters above sea level, so any increase would be catastrophic.
That's right. Well, His Excellency Mohammed Nasheed used to be president of the country and did all he could during his tenure to raise awareness about this very important issue. In fact, he once even held a cabinet meeting underwater. Well, I caught up with His Excellency a little bit earlier at the event, and I began by asking him about the progress he's seen since visiting here 4 years ago.
Well, we started renewable energy, the most favorable source, wind being one. But since then, in the last few years, we've been fortunate to come up with new renewable sources, and most importantly, solar. Solar power is now, in my country, financially more viable than oil. So I believe that the biggest change has been the shift or the availability of other sources of renewable energy, and not to depend just simply on wind, but also solar. And now we are seeing wave energy also coming and making an impact.
Is there any doubt in your mind that it's human activity that's led to climate change? And why do you think there are some scientists who still disagree with that?
Well, it's always good to have skeptics. It's always good to have two sides of any argument. But I think the science is overwhelming. The vast majority of the scientists believe and completely believe that there is a climate change and that it is happening. It's not something in the future. It is happening now.
I mean, that's obviously a particularly interesting opinion, because in this part of the world, fuel subsidies are still very popular with the Gulf regions. Do you think they need to be removed or at least lowered if we are to meet our climate change goals?
I've never argued to remove anything. In my view, we must come out with more renewable sources, and that must be financially and economically viable. With more investments into these new technologies, I'm sure we can make them financially viable.
I mean, people would argue, though, that removing subsidies would actually give more funds to be able to develop this clean technology, but you disagree with that?
I wouldn't argue removing any subsidy without substituting it. It is finally going to have an impact on your average person, and we must find a way out for that person before removing these. But of course, you cannot always live your life with handouts. You must be able to survive yourself. You must be able to fend for yourself. You must work hard to earn your own living.
Finally, I just want to ask you, obviously, in 2009 you announced that the Maldives would become the first carbon neutral country. Are they on track to meet that goal, do you still feel?
I don't think we have any choice. Right now in our country, solar is more economically viable. It's below 19 cents a unit. So burning oil is always becoming very expensive. We spent more than 20% of our foreign currency earnings on buying, importing oil. And I don't think we can go on and on importing all the oil with all the foreign currency, with every single cent that we get. So it's very, very important that we find other sources of energy. The technology is available, the economics is favorable, and I think we will become carbon neutral, you like it or not.
And do you think they'll do it within the goal that you suggested?
I really think that it might be a little bit quicker than what we anticipate.
When do you think it could be?
Well, we were planning on making the country carbon neutral in 20 years. So with the technology improving so rapidly, I think we may be able to do it in 15 years.